So the very first step is fix your mind, which means like 24/7, fixing mind on Krishna without deviation. If you cannot do that, practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga. If you're unable to do that, then try to act giving up the results of your work. If you cannot take to this practice, engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge, jnana. Right? So some jnana, based on that jnana, giving up the results, which is karma yoga. Karma means what we are doing, working, making money, but karma yoga means giving that up. Right? And then if you cannot even do that, then what do we do? Meditation. But better than meditation is renunciation of fruits of action, means giving up our income for the service of Krishna, or giving up our facilities for service of Krishna. He's saying by such renunciation, giving up, one can attain the peace of mind. Right? So now today's topic, 13 to 14. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitraha karunevacha nirmamo nirankarah samadukha sukha kshami santushtaha satatam yogi yatatma drida nishayah mayyarpitamano buddhir yadmad bhaktah same priyah. Okay, Disha Mataji, please read the translation.
She's not here yet. I can do it.
Okay, you do.
One who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear.
Yeah, very good. Okay, go. Sorry, go ahead.
I think last week we put a table on these topics only, Prabhu. How envious we are, how much false ego each person have.
Yeah, you're right. Last week the table was on this topic only. Okay, so now let's go on to the next one. You're right. Yasman no vijate loko.
Yasman no dvijate loko.
Lokan no dvijate chayah.
Lokan no dvijate chayah.
Harshamarsha bhayodvegair.
Harshamarsha bhayodvegair.
Mukto yaha sacha me priyah.
Mukto yaha sacha me priyah.
He by whom no one is put into difficulty, and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me. Again, Krishna is giving a set of qualities, right? So maybe we should try to document them here. So the set of qualities is saying, not disturbed by anyone, equipoised in happiness and distress. He says this in 3rd chapter also. Now again he says the same thing, right? Sitoshna samadukkada agamapaino nityas tams tisishva bharataha. So he earlier said that, and now he's saying in a different language. So fear and anxiety, right? Equipoised in happiness and distress means you're happy or sad, you're still neutral. Very difficult for us, very difficult. And then fear and anxiety. This, like, suppose if there is a deadline, we are in either anxiety or in fear that it won't get done. No matter what anybody tells you, you will be kind of stuck in that. But who is dear to Krishna? Who is equipoised, happiness and distress. Because happiness will come. After happiness, distress will come. After distress, happiness will come. Again, after happiness, distress will come. This will keep on going on. But he's saying that somebody who is neutral in this way is very dear to Krishna. So in the purport, Swami Prabhupada says, okay, so maybe Nagaprabhu, you can read this.
Two of a devotee's qualifications are further being described. No one is put into difficult anxiety, fearfulness, or dissatisfaction by, by, by such a devotee. Since a devotee is kind to everyone, does not act in such a way as to put others into anxiety. At the same time, if others try to put a devotee into anxiety, he is not disturbed. It is by the grace of the Lord that he is so practiced that he is not disturbed by any outward disturbance. Actually, because a devotee is always engrossed in Krishna consciousness and engaged in devotional service, such material circumstances cannot move him. Generally, a materialistic person becomes very happy when there is something for his sense gratification and his body. But when he sees that others have something for their sense gratification and he hasn't, he is sorry and envious. When he is expecting some retaliation from an enemy, he is in the state of fear, and when he cannot successfully execute something, he becomes dejected. A devotee who is always transcendental to all these disturbances is very dear to Krishna.
So this is a very important point. Like, if you're not a devotee, if somebody has more of X, whatever that X is, maybe a car, bigger house, bigger job, then that person becomes envious. But devotee's quality is, because we are engaged in devotional service, material circumstances cannot move him. So material circumstances could be giving you a lot of facility or taking away a lot of facility, right? So right now, a lot of normal people are very disturbed due to the virus thing and so on. But devotees, they say, okay, this is the will of the Lord. We'll do whatever needs to be done and just keep moving on. So when he's expecting retaliation from an enemy, he's in state of fear. This doesn't need to be from enemy. You may be working in an office and boss is trying to cut down workforce. So some people will be laid off, right? So the people who are about to be laid off are in great state of fear. When will that date come? Maybe it is today, maybe it is tomorrow, maybe it is next week, right? So whether it is fear or anxiety, it will be tough situation. But a devotee is supposed to be not being disturbed by outside disturbance, outward disturbance, right? His so practice is not disturbed by any outward disturbance. So whenever something happens, he is always, not affected by that. So this is one other quality that we have to note down. A devotee who is always transcendent to all these disturbances is very dear to Krishna, right? So many things happen, like in Maharashtra, in Pandharpur, the ISKCON temple. I mean, there is a river there which overflowed this year, and the entire temple, almost like 6-8 feet of water. So much cleaning, so much effort is required, right? So much effort is required. But devotee says, okay, what can I do? And then you will just put in the effort. अनापेक्षः सुचेर्दक्ष.
Anapikshal Suchir Daksha.
Udasino gatavyataha.
Udasino Gatha Vyataha.
Sarvaramba parityagi.
Sarvaramba Parityagi.
Yomad bhaktaha same priyaha.
Yomat Bhaktaha Same Priyaha.
My devotee is not dependent on ordinary course of events, activities, right? We are all dependent on ordinary course of activities. Can you tell one example of what is an ordinary course of activity? What is an ordinary course of activity?
Making money, doing some work.
Yeah, yeah. And even if you want to break it down even further, the 9 to 5 work is an ordinary course of activity, right? So we are conditioned morning, okay, you may do a little bit of chanting, you may do some things, but by the time it's 8 o'clock, okay, I have to go to office, 9 o'clock, my office starts, right? And then 5 o'clock, oh, I have to go home now. Maybe on the way, I'll go to QFC and buy something. That is an ordinary course of activity. So devotee is not dependent on ordinary course of activities. So for us to become a real devotee, we should not have any regular thing to do. With whatever money we have, we should be happy to live, right? We are in chapter 12, so things are getting tough. Previously, Krishna gave some, light instructions like what is karma, what is jnana, like that. But now he's saying, if you are dependent on the ordinary course, then you are not dear to me. If you are not dependent, then you are very dear to me, right? Somebody who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving from some result. We are all striving for some result. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Which means we are not very dear to Krishna. Because we all want to solve our material problems through material means. So he won't really help us until we depend on him, right? What is surrender ultimately? We depend, right? When Draupadi was being disrobed by Dushasana, first she tried to hold sari with one hand and with the other hand call out to Krishna. Krishna didn't come because he said, "You're still trying." But then she put both of her hands up in the air and called out to Krishna that I cannot do anything. Then he started providing that unlimited length of the sari. Right? I'm not saying that we should all do that, but we really fully surrendered to Krishna? That is the thing, right? So we should. It's not like, okay, you stand in front middle of the road and say, Krishna, you protect me. The bus will come and hit me, but you should protect me. No, that's not thing. When whatever you have tried doesn't work, then you throw your hands in the air and say, Krishna, protect me. Now there is nowhere else to turn to. And he may or he may not, depending upon what is good for us, right? So you may expect him to protect you in a certain way, he will protect you in a different way. So that is the essence of that. Sheshadev, please read.
Srila Prabhupada. Money may be offered to a devotee, but he should not struggle to acquire it. If automatically, by the grace of the Supreme, money comes to him, he is not agitated. Naturally, a devotee takes a bath at least twice in a day and rises early in the morning for devotional service. Thus, he is naturally clean both inwardly and outwardly. A devotee is always expert because he fully knows the essence of all activities of life and he is convinced of the authoritative scriptures. A devotee never takes the part of a particular party. Therefore, he is carefree. He is never pained because he is free from all designations. He knows that his body is a designation. So if there are some bodily pains, he is free. The pure devotee does not endeavor for anything which is against the principles of devotional service. For example, constructing a big building requires great energy, and a devotee does not take to such business if it does not benefit him by advancing his devotional service. He may construct a temple for the Lord, and for that he may take all kinds of anxiety, but he does not construct a big house for his personal relations.
Yeah. So this is really, what we should all take to heart, because we all, have good jobs, and we think the goal is to live in a big building, whether it is constructing or paying the monthly mortgage for the next 20, 30 years, right? So money may come to the devotee. Yes, that's good. Money will come according to our past karma, but we should not struggle to acquire it. So this is called over endeavoring. So we put all of our energy in doing X, Y, and Z, and all that does is takes away your devotional um, propensity, devotional time. So what do? You should not struggle to acquire it. We should not struggle to acquire money. Let money come naturally. Actually, money will come naturally, right? There are so many cases where money came naturally, right? Like somebody is like, very poor, and suddenly they say that this distant grandfather who had no kids put all that money in a will for this fellow, right? Or you are just simply serving the Lord, and suddenly somebody comes and gives a big donation to construct a temple, right? These things happen. These things have happened right here in Seattle. Uh, like when we were constructing this temple, the current beautiful pink building, different people gave different amounts actually. We were struggling. Somebody, one of the businessmen came and gave 500,000, like that. And then for the second temple, Bellevue Balaji temple, one of the other businessmen came and he gave another $500,000. Of course, whoever gives gets the benefit. So we should also give. It's not like wait for somebody big to come and do it. And we are all doing it, but maybe we should increase it a little bit, right? So, by the grace of Supreme, money comes to the devotee. Money will come. One way or the other, it will come. Like one person, he gave up his college in ISKCON. Now he joined the Hare Krishna movement. This is in the 70s. So he didn't have much money. Then his father grew very rich. Then, he was in touch with the father once in a while, once a year or twice a year. He would visit him, say Hare Krishna, and come back and again do his devotional life. Then the father passed away. A large sum of money came to him. Of course, he didn't use it for his own personal purpose. He, gave it to various temple construction projects, like that, right? So miraculously, money will come. Like in the Houston, people were struggling to build a temple. So there was one Gujarati person who had some kind of business, right? And then he put his money in some kind of scheme, right? Whether it is in the stock market, whether it is in some market, and he thought it never grow so much. So he wrote his will and put in a almirah, in a closet, or a safe, I should say safe. He said whatever money comes from this particular account should go to ISKCON of Houston. Fast forward 20 years, the person died. They opened the safe. They said, this is the account number. They went and checked that account number. It was $25 million. That money appreciated through a combination of natural appreciation. So whatever reason, right? It appreciated so much. So they built a beautiful temple in Houston with that money. Now, did the devotees work very hard to earn that 25 million? No. Did that person work very hard? Maybe a little bit, but then the money grew on its own. And because he said all of this belongs to the temple, it grew phenomenally. So for the devotees, did they have to work super hard? No. The money came, they built a beautiful temple, they are preaching very nicely, happy ending. Right? So if you struggle, what will happen? Your devotional life will go to dogs. If you say, okay, um, Let's take an example. Somebody like, Benioff started Salesforce. He became a billionaire. So I will also start a Salesforce company. So you will work hard for 20 years and then you will die working for that company. Right? So money is arranged by the Supreme Lord somehow or the other. So we should work. I mean, it's not like you will become lazy or anything, but it should not be a struggle. It should be normal. Right? And then Prabhupada gives a simple example of taking bath twice a day. Although it's not a struggle, it is good to do it. Right? Because the devotee is free from all designations. So there is Rupa Goswami says, Sarva Upati Vinirmuktam Tatparatvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uttama. So in Uttama Bhakti, in the highest quality of Bhakti, we get relieved from all designations. So right now, Naga Prabhu is a software programmer, right? Of course, on this call, everybody is software. So I cannot use this example. Okay, maybe, somebody lives, somebody has a master's degree. Somebody has only bachelor's degree. Somebody went to IIT like Jaypal, right? So even all these are designations, right? Anybody know the difference between talent and achievement? Speak up, somebody. What is the difference between talent and achievement?
Vibha wants to say something, Ravi.
Okay,
The
Vibha.
difference between talent and achievement is talent is something you can do and you're very good at, and achievement is something you get once you try to do something.
Right. Like, for example, your father got his master's from IIT, which is a very good achievement. But can I tell that his talent is IIT quality?
No,
Why?
because if you achieve, you don't know how easy it was for him. Talent, it was pretty, it will not be so hard. Achievement, it will take time for you to do it.
Yeah, very good point. So maybe Jaypal is Harvard Business School quality, right? He has the talent, but he never pursued that achievement. He stopped at IIT MTech. That's it. And he thought, this is it. I will work. I'll make money. I'll lead a family life. Done. Right? So you will never know what a person's talent is. Right? So why am I telling you all this? Because we go in this material world after achievements. Right? Like Keshwananda Prabhu, he had an achievement. He became a medical doctor. But he has a higher talent of influencing people. I spoke to him yesterday only regarding the farm community in Texas, because he's already running a farm. So I wanted to get some knowledge from him. So his talent, he didn't stop with his medical degree. He's using his talent to do something bigger, right? Influencing people. Getting a degree is easy. Influencing people is very hard, right? To mold a person's life where that fellow is not obligated to listen to you, that is the biggest achievement, right? So he has the talent to inspire and influence people. So all of our achievements are for the body only, right? And all of our designations are for the body only. Somebody is a doctor, somebody is IIT, somebody is MBA. They're all bodily designations. So Rupa Goswami's thing is that we should get out of all the upadhis. Upadhi means designations. Somebody is like, for example, Obama is a president. Is his talent limited to being a president? No. If he chants Hare Krishna, he takes sannyas, he can inspire people in a different dimension altogether. He's not doing it because he's limiting himself. He thought that American president Giri is the best degree. That's it, the highest. So I don't need to do anything more like that. Right? So even the body is a designation. I have a body, I acquired a body because of my past karma, but I'm not the body. So you get out of that designation. I am neither a body, nor a male, nor a female, nor an engineer, nor a doctor, right? So once we come to that platform that even then their bodily pain is free. What is a bodily pain? Somebody comes and hits our car. That's a bodily pain. Why is it a bodily pain? Because you are now worrying with your mind, which is in the body. But the soul doesn't own the car. The soul doesn't own anything. So these are all bodily pains. So the pure devotee does not endeavor for anything that is against the principles of devotional service. So this is like a slap on our cheek. We are not pure, right? Because pure devotee will not aspire for anything beyond anything beyond the soul platform, right? Anything beyond the spiritual platform. So constructing a building for ourselves is bodily. Constructing a building for Krishna is on the soul platform. And then somebody may say, it is still a building, yeah, but I'm not doing it for myself, I'm doing it for Krishna. Right? So many times in the purport, Srila Prabhupada uses the example, constructing a temple for the Lord, which means it's pretty important. We have to construct temples for the Lord. I mean, you cannot construct a $5 million temple if you only have 300,000. What you do is you construct a small temple, right? In some shape or form, and then teach other people the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, the philosophy of God. The reason we are all able to do this Zoom call is because of the temple in our neighborhood, right? We all met there. Otherwise, I don't know any one of you. We all met there and we are taking the temple onto Zoom. But still, the temple is the glue for all of us, right? Because of Corona or whatever reason, we are not meeting in person. And better we don't meet in person. Today, the senator in New Hampshire died, Republican senator. What happened during election time? He mingled too much with people. He caught it somewhere. Last week, he got elected on the Republican ticket. Within a week, his chapter closed, finished, dead. I was just reading news and suddenly that caught my eye. Senator dies. Sorry, he just got elected. He already died. So what's the point of that designation, senator? Right? So better we don't meet in person, but we have to understand that we have to be free from our designations. And what we do is we should do for Krishna. Or if you still do it for yourself, selfishly, you somehow put Krishna in the middle. Right? So what you do, if you selfishly buy a $1.5 million home, okay, put Krishna's deity in the middle, call everybody to your home once a week, twice a week for prasadam and do kirtan. So that way the home has become a mini temple. But if you don't do that, it will be a big time trouble. Or use your body in some way for Krishna. How the building is just an example that Prabhupada is giving. For example, yo na harshyati na dveshti
Yona
Yona
Harshati
harshati na dveshti,
na sochati na kankshati
na shochati na kankshati,
shubha shubha parityagi
shubha shubha parityaki,
bhakti mam ya same priyah.
bhakti manya same priyaha.
One who neither rejoices nor grieves. Again, see, he's taking you out of duality, right? All of Bhagavad Gita is to take you out of duality. Good, bad, nice, not so nice, beautiful, ugly, right? That is called duality. Du means two. Duality means you are in bidirectional. Sometimes you are here, sometimes you are there, right? Again, he's saying who is dear to him. He's giving like a complete list here. It's like complete. If you do these things, you're dear to me. He's saying that very clearly. Who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires. Laments means crying, oh, I sold Amazon stock at 300. Now it is 3,000. I lost so much money. Like that. That is lamenting. Desiring means, oh, I'll buy Amazon at 3,000. It will go to 5,000. That is desiring. Right? So the soul does only two things. Worries about the past. Right? Let's write that down. Worries about past and plans for future. In this way, we spend our whole life and one day we'll die. You have to plan a little bit, maybe 5%. But all your life is spent in planning, like I was doing for good part of my life, then it's a wasted life. Right? I got bachelor's, then masters in America, H1, green card, citizenship, house, this, that. Only good thing in my life I've done so far since I was born is buying the farm community in Texas so that we can do something for Krishna. That's the only good thing I've done in my life. Everything else is, like when they lay you off, right? Like I got laid off at least 5 or 6 times in my career, and four of them were on the phone. One of the conversation went like this. Hey Ramesh, yeah, thank you for all the contributions. You know how things are right now. So today is your last day. I was laid off in 1 minute. If you count all the time that took to deliver that sentence, in 1 minute I was laid off. So all the hard work you do and all the friendship, going to lunch with them, it only takes 1 minute to lay you off. So what's the point? Ultimately, you'll be like, one Western author was saying, you'll be chewed and you'll be spitted out. You know what spitted out is? You chew it, something like chewing gum, and poop, that is spitting out. So that is possible for any one of us. So, and then we worry about the past. Oh, I was laid off, or plan for the future. Maybe I'll find a better job. This is lamenting and desiring. And then renounces auspicious and inauspicious. So even the good you should not be attached to. Right? Sometimes people say, we had such a good time in Kirtan today. Right? It was so good. The prasadam was so good. That is auspicious. Inauspicious. Oh, that place smells so bad. Or there is so much dust and thing in Delhi, so I will not go to Delhi. Right? So the good and the bad, you give up both. Right? So you just participate neutrally. So the whole thing about Bhagavad Gita from chapter 12 on is neutrality. Initially, he gave you some basic information, but from the devotional thing, he will recommend neutrality, right? Right, like when Harulas Maharaj's home got burnt, he was neutral. He came in the evening and gave a class in the temple. What you and I would have been doing. Oh my God, I lost all my money. I even had gold coins in the safe, that also got burnt. Oh, my degree certificates got burnt. Right? He just came in the evening and gave a class in the temple. So that's how it should be. Right? Okay, Jaypal, please read. Jaypal?
Sorry, bro, I was on mute. A pure devotee is neither happy nor distressed over the material gain and loss, nor is he very much anxious to get a son or disciple, nor is he distressed by not getting them. If he loses anything which is very dear to him, he does not lament. Similarly, if he does not get what he desires, he is not distressed. He is transcendental in the face of all kinds of auspicious and inauspicious and sinful activities. He is prepared to accept all kinds of risks for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Nothing is an impediment in the discharge of his devotional service. Such a devotee is very dear to me. Very dear to Krishna. Sorry.
Yeah. So this is what happens to us. Material gain and loss. When we gain something, we are very happy. When we are lost, we become very unhappy. That's why devotees will get a lot of these challenges. that they will lose stuff throughout their life, because Krishna is training the devotee so that you can lose stuff. But we will get distressed. My personal experience, right? Like back in 2008, 2009, I had good amount of money in stock market, and I lost a good amount of money then, and I sold also. I did not hang on to that. Until day, I still think about it. Array, I lost so much in 2010, right? But what is Krishna's standard? Not being distressed over loss. And you don't have to tell your examples, but I know that each one of you have some examples of a loss, right? Nobody is loss free in this world. If everybody is loss free, then how will the insurance companies make money? Everybody has some kind of loss, right? Everybody has some kind of loss. Even state of California has loss. Oracle decided to move to Texas. Elon Musk moved to Austin, Texas. So think about all the revenue, 10% tax, state tax that the state was getting. Texas doesn't have state income tax, right? So there is loss. I mean, this whole material world is about gain and loss and gain and loss and gain and loss. That's it. And that boy that I talked about 3 months ago, he was doing stock trading, 19-year-old kid on Robinhood. He lost a good amount of money that day. He committed suicide. If he had just waited till November, everything would have been okay. But he didn't wait. He just committed suicide, right? Because he could not take the loss. There's a very big science now, loss tolerance, how to manage loss. If you do, Bing search on internet, you will see all these things. So even materially, lamenting over loss is a foolish thing. So that boy died. 19-year-old committed suicide because he lost money in stock market. Samah shatru cha mitre cha tata manapamanayoho शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखेषु समः संग विवर्जितः तुल्य निंदा स्तुतिर्मौनी संतुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतः स्थिरमतिर् भक्तिमां मे प्रियो नरः. One of the temple devotees, his son's name is Aniket. Aniket means having no residence. Of course, that's not why they named him like that, but that's the meaning, no residence. So people's residences get pulled away. And at that point, what is your tolerance? I know this happened to one of my devotee friend. His house got foreclosed. You know what foreclosure is? What is foreclosure?
People pay a mortgage and the mortgage company takes your home.
Yeah, market company will nicely come and say, sorry, sir, your home is mine. So he lost his home. But of course, because he's a good devotee, he was very neutral, very, very neutral. Some other people in America, when they lost their homes, they committed suicide. Right? So don't do that. It's not worth it. If not a home, then you can build a hut somewhere, or you can come to Wolf City, Texas, to the farm, if you exhaust all your possibilities in life. Right? So equipoised. What is equipoised means? Huh? balance or counterbalance. I mean, that is like a more modern example. Equipoised means you maintain your poise, means your calmness in good or bad. Get the point? So one should be equipoised. Samah sarveshu bhuti. I mean, basically, whether in the heat or cold, happiness or distress, fame or infamy. Sometimes people will come and insult you. One day I was in the temple and somebody insulted me really bad. And then Kumar Subramaniam, he later said, Prabhu, you're able to tolerate insults. That's a very good thing. I don't know whether it's a good thing or not, but Bhagavad Gita has taught me that even if somebody insults you, you take it. What are you going to do? You're going to take it. That's it. Because that is dear to Krishna. And I said earlier, once I was doing Nagar Sankirtan, one lady, maybe about 50-year-old lady, she took a bottle of Coca-Cola. She probably didn't like people chanting or whatever. She hit me on the head with the bottle of Coca-Cola. Right? That's also one other infamy. And it causes some distress because it'll pain for a day or two. Your head won't crack that easily, don't worry. So, in Kung Fu of Seven Steps, Jackie Chan, what he does is, while he's practicing Kung Fu, he will take his head and put against hot coals. He will hit his head against the punching bag to make it strong. So that towards later end of the movie, when the villains come and hit on the head with a big stick, nothing happens. Stick breaks, but his head is strong. Right? So head doesn't break that easily, especially if you practice, these martial arts and train the head to be harder than a coconut. Coconut will crack, but head won't crack. So again, another thing is always free from contaminating association. Contaminating association is very bad. These are friends, relatives. They'll say, hey, why are you reading Bhagavad Gita now? When you grow old, you read that. And then you should ask them the question, Uncle, you are old. Why are you not reading Bhagavad Gita? They'll say they won't have answer for that. Right? Bhagavad Gita has to be read when we are very young, starting from the age of what age? Nobody knows?
6, Prabhuji.
Five. Kaumaram acharet prajna. Kaumaram, prior to that, it is like you don't have the sense of right and wrong, right? You're dependent on parents for milk and everything. From the age of 5 onwards, 5 complete, not 5 beginning, 5 complete, which is technically your answer is right. 6, starting the day of 6, day 1 of 6 years old. You should start reading Bhagavad Gita because you'll understand something out of it. Or at least have somebody read it to you. So if we all don't make it to Godhead this lifetime, next lifetime, that's what we'll do. Okay? Or you want to again come and work in tech sector? So we should think about these things. Indradunu Maharaj said, last life I couldn't do it. So this last life I made a vow that next life I'll become a brahmachari and I'll continue my devotional life. And that's what I'm doing right now. So that's what it is. Some people apparently have some past life remembrances. Gopal, read.
A devotee is always free from all bad association. Sometimes one is praised and sometimes one is defamed. That is the nature of human society. But a devotee is always transcendental to artificial fame and infamy, distress or happiness. He is very patient. He does not speak of anything but the topics about Krishna. Therefore, he is called silent. Silent does not mean that one should not speak. Silent means that one should not speak nonsense. One should speak only essentials, and the most essential speech for a devotee is to speak for the sake of Supreme Lord. A devotee is happy in all conditions. Sometimes he may get very palatable foodstuffs, sometimes not, but he is satisfied, nor does he care for any residential facility. He may sometimes live underneath a tree, and he may sometimes live in a very palatial building. He is attracted to neither. He is called fixed because he is fixed in his determination and knowledge. We may find some repetition in the descriptions of the qualifications of a devotee, but this is just to emphasize the fact that devotee must acquire all these qualifications. Without good qualifications, one cannot be a pure devotee. Harav abhaktasya kuto mahad gunaha. One who is not a devotee has no good qualification. One who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop the good qualifications. Of course, he does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, but engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him develop them.
Yeah. So he's saying, essentially, he's saying in all of the purport that you have to acquire those good qualifications. And the final point is very important. Engagement in Krishna consciousness and devotional service automatically helps him develop those, right? So I've seen people who are very cruel and all that. They come to Krishna consciousness, and within a span of 10 years, they'll become like sadhus, very gentle, very nice. And then I used to think, right, when this fellow came, he was not like this. And that includes me also. I was not like this before. So engagement in devotional life automatically changes us. So automatically you can develop qualities, good qualities, not just any qualities. Right? Any questions, thoughts on this one? So we have lots of things Krishna is saying that we should do. If we do all this well, then we are dear to Krishna. Right? So do you want to do a scoring on where we stand against these qualities? I will surely fail. So let's chant more and automatically we'll get better. Ye tu dharmatmritam idam
Ye tu dharmatridhamidam
yatoktam pariupasate
yadoktam paryupasate
shraddhadhanamatparamam
shraddhadanamatparama
bhaktastetiva me priyah.
bhaktasthetiva
Those who follow the imperishable path of devotional service, see, he calls this imperishable, means this devotional service will never stop. You may stop, but somebody else will take it up like that. The path itself will never stop. That's why it's called Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means eternal. People are only looking at last 100 years. Hare, so many people got converted to Christianity, there's that Muslim. But this path has been going on since time immemorial, right? 1.7 million years since Lord Ram, 120 million years since Lord Krishna gave this knowledge to Vivashwan, 120 million. Cannot even imagine, such a long time ago, right? So this path of devotional service will not die. Only practitioners will die. So instead of like previously maybe like 1 billion people were doing it, now maybe 100 million are doing it. End of Kali Yuga, maybe like a few thousand will do it. That's it. But the path will never die. So completely engage themselves with faith. We don't have faith. That is our problem. Making me the supreme goal, right? If we have this faith, then we are very dear to Krishna. Okay, who else is there? Okay, Nagaprabhu, second round.
This chapter from verse 2 to the end, from Maya Abhivesha Namo Te Namo. Fixing idam, this religion of eternal engagement. The Supreme Lord has explained the process of transcendental service for approaching Him. Such processes are very dear to the Lord, and He accepts a person engaged in them. The question of who is better, one who is engaged in the path of impersonal Brahman, or one who is engaged in the personal service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was raised by Arjuna. And the Lord replied to him so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. In other words, in this chapter, it is decided that through through good association, one develops attachment for true devotional service and thereby accepts a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant and observe the regulative principles of devotional service with faith, attachment, and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. This path is recommended in this chapter. Therefore, there is no doubt that devotional service is the only absolute path for self realization, for the attainment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impersonal conception of the Supreme Absolute Truth, as described in this chapter, is recommended only up to the time one surrenders himself for self realization. In other words, as long as one does not have the chance to associate with the pure devotee, the impersonal conception may be beneficial. In the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, one works without fruitive results, meditates and cultivates knowledge to understand spirit and matter. This is necessary as long as one is not in the association of a pure devotee. Fortunately, if one develops directly a desire to engage in Krishna consciousness in pure devotional, he does not need to undergo step by step improvements in spiritual realization. Devotional service, as described in the middle six chapters of Bhagavad Gita, is more congen- congenial. congenial. One need not bother about materials to keep body and soul together, because by the grace of Lord, everything is carried out automatically.
Yeah, thank you. So let's meditate on this. As long as one does not have a chance to associate with pure devotee, impersonal conception may be beneficial, right? So the impersonal conception is like the God doesn't have a form, right? Lot of gurus propagate that, including Puttaparthi Sai Baba in Andhra, Meher Baba in Maharashtra, right? Those are all impersonalist. Huh? So what does one do there? One works without fruit, meditates and cultivates knowledge. They're not bad people, but they don't, have a higher taste. So what they do good things, like they do meditation, jhana, cultivating knowledge, understanding spirit and matter. So even the Mayavadis and Brahmavadis, they also follow this path, right? So let's do graphically. But once one has a chance to associate with a pure devotee, what happens? Then they don't need to do anything, right? So if we graphically show this, if it allows me to show, it's not allowing me to show, right? If you do something like, what happened to all the beautiful pictures? Okay, maybe we'll do this. So impersonal conception, when person doesn't have a devotee association. But once you meet a devotee, what should you do? Once you meet a devotee, what should you do? What should we do? You should become a devotee. That's it, right? So until you don't meet a devotee, you can go into all these other conceptions, right? God may be like this, God may be like that. But once you meet a devotee, you basically follow the devotional path. Is that clear? And this is a very controversial topic. Need not bother about materials to keep the body and soul together. Because of the grace of the Lord, everything is carried out automatically. Right? Like who are taking care of the temple pujaris? Krishna is taking care, right? Are they working outside? No. Because they said, okay, Krishna, I will in this lifetime I'll do devotional service for you. Therefore, things are getting taken care of. Somebody will take them to the mall, somebody will take them to the store. Whenever they need something, somebody is buying for them. Right? Why? By the grace of the Lord. Right? The grace of the Lord, everything is carried out automatically. So, finishes the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 12th chapter. Now you are all advanced students. Now you are going to chapter 13. Haribol. So any questions on the 12th chapter? So what are you going to do about these principles that Krishna says? If your neighbor comes and breaks your flower pot, what are you going to do? If your boss fires you, what are you going to do?
Whatever we learned in the last 30, 40 years, it will be on the muscle memory. So even if you try to go into the path, so it will definitely take a lot of time, Prabhu.
Yeah. So how do you? That's a very good point. Muscle memory, right? So let's do that. So how do you have muscle memory? How do you destroy this muscle memory and retrain it? How do you retrain from a C++ to Java or .NET to Java or something like that? How do you do that?
Obviously, put some new memory.
Yeah. So you train new behaviors, right? But how does behavior come? Where does behavior come from?
Association.
Yeah, no, it's more than that. It's more than that. I'll tell you. It is through association, but in the theory of mind, I was reading last time. Again, all from Prabhupada's disciples and grand disciples. So there is perception, attitude. There is one more I'm forgetting, and then you come to behavior. So behavior can again retrogress, means it can go back. So we have to change at a very core level. This is like within the heart, deep within us. And then our attitude. Actually, I think attitude leads to perception, not the other way around. So we have to fix our attitude. Same thing they are doing in your office also. If somebody is not performing, they put on a performance improvement plan and they're trying to change their attitude. Right? So this muscle memory is very strong for the attitude. So here are the steps. You have to change the attitude, something that is hidden inside. Behavior is something that you exhibit outside, but you have to change that underlying attitude. Remember some time ago, I showed you the picture of is the iceberg theory, right? Iceberg theory, psychology. There are various theories, but you can just, for your understanding, there is a conscious level, there is a subconscious level, there is the unconscious level, right? Some past shameful experience, unacceptable sexual desires, violent motives, fears. Everybody's afraid. Like in one of the Western movie, they show that Bruce Willis, he takes on everybody, but in the end, he sits down and he cries because his fear is not external. His fear is internal, right? So then there are memories, stored knowledge, then there are perceptions, and above the perceptions, there are other things also, right? And that's how they use this for like sales principles, identify customer need, collect customer feedback deep within the iceberg, right? Showing the value of products. You're subtly training your customer to buy more products from you, like that, right? So outside you see words, tonality, body language, just these behaviors. But the beliefs, values, prejudice, experiences, fears, dreams, feelings, these are all hidden in us. So you have to train that. It is not sufficient to simply train what is the external thing. Everybody's so polite in the temple, right? Prabhuji, how are you? Like that. But you scratch a little deep, and when something goes wrong, the real truth comes out. You've seen all this in life. Same with the relatives also. Everything is very congenial till something breaks. So, of course, ultimately everything comes to chanting, good quality chanting, right? So, if you do bad chanting, then you will remain in the material world. If you do quality chanting, calling out Lord, chanting is like calling out a baby's call for a mother. If baby calls mother saying, Palu, Palu, like that, right? So, mother will immediately run and give milk to the baby. But if you say pa, 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 or something like da, 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 then mother doesn't know that you are calling for milk. Same thing, if you don't call properly Krishna, you'll not get Krishna, you'll get something else, something like a faint shadow of Krishna. So in chanting, there are three phases. Anybody know what those phases are?
Paranam, Kirtanam,
First is offensive chanting, aparada. Aparada involved in chanting. Second is nama abhasa. So you'll get,
Forced? Is it
so,
being
huh?
is it like is one thing like being forced to chant?
Yeah, being forced to chant or neglectfully chanting, right? Actually, one Prabhu in ISKCON, he documented 12 types. Yeah, one Prabhu in ISKCON documented 12 types of chanting. One chanting is that is like the high-speed train. Huh? One chanting is sleepy chanting. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. As if you're going to sleep, right? So there are different kinds of chanting. It's just like there are different kinds of cars in this world, different kinds of taekwondo classes in the world. Then there is Shuddha Nama, faint shadow, not show. Shadow, pure name, right? So this is what happens to majority of the people. In the offensive chanting will kick you out. So you can never come to stage 2 and 3. It's like you joined after your college Amazon, and after your first review, you're kicked out of the company. So you can neither collect your stock benefits, you cannot collect your 401k because 401k only kicks in after some time. So it's practically useless to go work in a corporation like that. So offensive chanting will kick you out. But if you do pure chanting, and pure means like pure to the extent possible for a while, 30, 40 years, then you'll get Namabhasa. And in Namavas, if you continue to chant properly, then you will get the real name. Don't think Krishna is so cheap. I mean, the acharyas, encourage us by saying it is very easy, but it's not so easy. And that is their job, to encourage us, right? Acharyas encourage us so that we take it up. But once you take it up, you have to put in quality. No quality, no result, right? Sometimes you buy something cheap China stuff from Amazon, it breaks in 6 months. And sometimes you buy some good German product, it lasts for 40 years. Like the radio in my home in Hyderabad is still there. After that, I bought so many radios, tape recorders, iPod players, all of them broke. But that original radio from 40 years is still there. Right? Quality matters. Yeah, we live in fast food world, but doesn't mean that you can you can go to Krishna fast. Going to Krishna is a very deliberate and gentle process. Questions? Comments? Yeah, go ahead. I'm hearing, listening.
So, what's the correct way of chanting?
Well, you should chant every word very clearly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And you should have a closed loop feedback. You know what a closed loop feedback is?
No.
You chant and you hear.
Yeah, yeah. No, for the benefit of the little girl on the call who is paying nice attention, I want to see if there is any. Nobody made a picture like that. Very interesting. Or at least they didn't post it. Right? So when you talk, it should go back to your ear and nothing else. Talking, hearing, closed loop. Strange. Nobody made a picture even for that. Maybe this is the closest. All right. So, whatever you chant, you should be hearing. Your mind will tell you. What will mind tell you when you're chanting? You're all chanting, right? Your mind is telling you something. What is it telling you? What is the mind telling you?
Well, it's telling you about Krishna.
Mind is telling you about Krishna? Seriously?
So what she's trying to say is that when she's chanting Mahamantra, her mind is, devoted or focusing on Krishna.
Yeah, no, that is good. But at least for people like me, it is not focusing on Krishna. I need to forcibly focus it on Krishna. Right? I mean, it is very, good that she's able to focus on Krishna, but I am not able to focus on Krishna. So, when we are speaking, we should hear. And whatever the mind says, what do you do with the mind then? Huh? What do you do with the mind? Whatever you're speaking should go back to the ear. My very poor man's
Focus on
analogy.
listening.
Ignore.
Ignore, yeah. So what do? You ignore the mind. How do you ignore the mind?
Oh,
Ignore or neglect the mind. This is how one Prabhupada disciple explained to me.
Prabhu, do you mean ignore the
Like, for example, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When I was chanting, when I was on the Hare Rama, I saw the Lenovo logo on my laptop, right? So mind got distracted for a second. Ignore means you tell the mind, okay, if you see Lenovo or Bush or whatever, ignore it. Keep on chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Like that. So you neglect the mind.
got it? That makes sense.
Hear the chant, every syllable. Hear the chant. Don't think this is silly stuff and I'm telling you again and again. No, because even after 18 years of my chanting, I still fight with my mind. Mind is saying, okay, you chanted enough. Now go and check the mail. Okay, you chanted enough. Now go check email. Maybe your boss sent you something. Okay, enough. Maybe you have to do something in the backyard. Right? I'm struggling with this. I don't know about you, but so we have to train the mind. So training means then you have to train these guys here, right? Which is the subconscious. So how do you train these guys? External training is easy. If you don't have a good wardrobe, you go buy a nice suit from Macy's and you wear it. So these words, tonality, body language, this is easy stuff. How do you train the one that is internal to you? This stuff is relatively easy. I'm not saying it is super easy. This is what the average American lifestyle is. Just externalities. Be a nice guy. Don't use bad language. It is easy. How do you change your belief? In anything. Belief could be about religion. Belief could be about food. It could be about whatever. Politics. How do you change your belief? So belief change through scriptural sayings, right? Scripture says so many things. For that, you have to believe the scripture first, right? How do you change your values? Value change through value examples, right? If somebody is very gentle in their speech or gentle in their service, you follow them, right?
Yeah.
How do you change bias? What is bias? Nobody know? Let's see what Maya Devi tells about bias. Internet is nothing but Maya Devi. What happened? Internet is too slow. This
So
is,
is it favoring one thing than the other, bias?
yeah, bias is favoring one thing than the other. But there is something called explicit bias and implicit bias. And then there is hidden bias. So each one of us has a hidden bias, right? For example, if you walk past somebody who is wearing dirty clothes, we have a bias. We think that this fellow is homeless or whatever. But reality could be something very different. It could be due to that fellow not going home. He's been working all night at office. Or maybe for 2 to 3 days he hasn't gone home. Right? And then there is this thing called the cognitive shortcut. We do prejudgments that leads to rash decisions or discriminatory practices. So this bias is not coming from scriptures. This is coming from our existence in the material world. And our bias in America is different than bias in India. Here you may see some African American and you may now draw some incorrect conclusions. And then people discriminate against them for whatever reason, right? And then there could be a counter bias too. Maybe you should know that this person is actually that, but then you don't believe it, right? So cognitive shortcut means quickly you come to a prejudgment, lead to rash decisions. So that is bias. And how do you overcome that? Overcome by conscious training, right? So unconscious bias, that is, there was a training in Microsoft. When I was working there, I did that training. It's called unconscious bias. How unconsciously you could be doing the wrong thing. You are taking some cognitive shortcuts. So you do, right? And prejudice. So when the Germans killed the Jews in Second World War, about how many years ago? About 80 years ago. They did it just because they were Jews. That's it. And they had the conception that they are inferior for some reason. How do you overcome prejudice? By knowing truth from scriptures. How do you overcome fears? How do you overcome fear of anything?
By facing it.
No. Knowing that Krishna is the supreme, right? Whoever is troubling you is only intermediate. Krishna is supreme. Ultimately, Krishna will prevail. Right? In this way, I don't want to go through the complete list, but you get the idea. So each one of them has a scriptural basis through value examples, looking at the seniors who are practicing it nicely. Change bias by training. So you have to train yourself to say that this person is not a body, this person is a soul. So when you have bias against somebody, this person is a soul. And if possible, help them, not materially, spiritually. What is your material going to do? You may give like $10. What will happen to that? It will get spent in no time, right? Actually, you cannot help anybody materially also. Their karma will stop them from you helping them. So you try to help them, but still some other problem will come and they'll get carried away. So you cannot help anybody materially. That is my experience in life. So if possible, help them spiritually. Okay. So you want to do chapter 13 today or next week? Huh?
Next week, Prabhu.
Next week? Okay. Let's chant then. Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Krishna Chaitanya,
Prabhu Nityananda
Yeah.
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Okay, together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, 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 Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, 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 Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare. Okay, so any closing comments, questions? Okay, if not, see you all next week. Chant and be happy.
Prabhu,
Yeah.
Prabhu, Anisha had a comment.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I had a comment. You were chanting very fast.
Yeah, I that's my practice, right? So since we talked about fast chanting, I went very fast. So for the
You will
initial
get
people,
there.
you should chant slowly so that you can hear every syllable. Even at that pace, when I was chanting, I can hear every syllable, right? Because I've been doing it for some years. Maybe I should slow down a little bit, but I just wanted to give you a taste of what fast chanting is.
Thank you,
Okay,
Prabhu.
thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. See you all next week.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare Krishna.